Morning, TJ. This is update. Don't know what today's the 19th of May. A little update for you. This week, I originally had planned to. I know we talked about me getting in the weight room and just doing going through my warm up or whatever, but I I didn't feel like it, to be honest with you. I just been chilling this week, man, and I think that's been good because this week has been very busy. The lead up to the wedding, my homeboy's wedding this weekend, and that's had me really busy. So getting my tux and all the shit that I got to do to prepare for that. So, but no, this week I didn't get in the gym. I didn't get on the field. The field part made me feel a little bit guilty because I want to keep improving my skills. But in my head, I was like, man, you need a break every now and then. One thing I didn't ever give myself uh, prior to me tearing my Achilles, I never gave myself like opportunity. Just take a week, 2 weeks, a month off from playing rugby and let my body do what it needs to do as far as like resting up and healing. Let my mind as well just rest, get away from the game for a second, and just chill. And I think that's why I was so burnt out after I tore my Achilles because I was like, man, I don't give myself enough breaks with this game. Trying to constantly improve myself and constantly improve my skills, only to end up hurt. So, I just been chilling, man. Not chilling so much so I'm not doing anything. I'm walking a lot. Whenever I have breaks from the weight room, whenever it's end of my block, I tend to just walk a lot. Just get outside with my dogs, play around with them, and just take things easy. I do a lot of mobility, a lot of still strengthening my hip strengthening and mobility stuff, ankle strength and mobility. I also started physio again because I've been telling you I don't really feel right quite 100%, and I know it's going to take a while to get back to 100%. But I don't feel like myself, and I still feel like there's some things that's there that I needed to address. And so I got back to physio, and we recorded my movements, recorded me jumping off of one leg, off of both, how I'm landing, how I'm taking off. We recorded my running pattern, my running gait, I should say, and my running gait is actually that was the thing that I was most worried about, especially on my slower runs, my jog. We started at a 7.5 mile pace, and my physio was like, to be honest with you, your running gait doesn't really look that bad. I have a little bit of a dip in my right hip. I think is when my left leg lands, and he also said I'm landing a little bit with my foot a little bit further ahead of me than normal. But that's something that with drilling and with just getting my patterns back, I'll be able to do it. So that was really cool. The one thing that I would say is I can't remember the name of it. I think it's valgus or whatever. I know like what the term means. I just can't remember the name. But whenever I'm getting ready to take off on one leg, especially my right leg, my knee caves in before I jump up. When I land, my knee also caves in. So that's something that we wanted to address as well. Getting that hip strength back in that area, getting that ankle strength, and working on my ankle elasticity still. So yeah, back in physio doing that. I'm going once a week, and I'm going to try to make sure that it's on my low and slow days. Excuse me, my low and slow days, so that I'm not really interfering with with any of my other workouts. Oh, I played rugby Saturday. It was just training touch. These guys are, I don't want to say they're significantly better than my team in Orlando, but they're clearly better. I mean, the ball is able to get from left to right side of the pitch, from one end of the pitch to another without anybody really dropping it, which was which was very refreshing. I had fun, and I played very well. I think they were impressed with me when things were all said and done. Clearly, the skill work that I've been doing is working out. I mean, just from the difference from last year or before my Achilles tear to now, just being able to catch, pass on my left, run the right lines, seeing the lines to run, and that to me comes back to a lot of the fitness. Where when I first went out there, the first like 5-10 minutes, I was like huffing and like I was like, man, I'm out of shape. But then after a while, I caught that second. It didn't take me as long to catch my second win as it normally does. And then after that, for the next however long we played, I was just all over the field, like how I usually play. Making plays, showing up in the right spots, running support lines, playing the way that I like to play is like a second receiver, kind of like. kind of guiding traffic. So it was good, man. I was really impressed with myself on just how the level of skill that I was able to execute things at. And like I said, this was just a group of people coming out and playing touch, but being away from the game for so long and still being able to come and sling that pill all around the pitch, that made me feel good. The speed, the burst, you can tell is still there, but there are still some spots that I'm still a little bit hesitant to really just put my foot in the dirt and go. To be fair, that field that we played on was fucking horrendous. I mean, there's no other way I can describe that shit than that. I mean, there were fucking like holes, like uneven ground. And so when I got out there, I was like, there's no fucking way. Like, I'm going to be able to like play on this without worrying about where I'm stepping and how I'm stepping. So that was probably the biggest reason for my apprehension of, putting my foot in certain places, because there was clearly places where people could roll their ankle, tear something up, tear an Achilles. And I was just like, I'm not about to even like find that out. So, I feel was shit. But I feel really confident, man. I feel really good about that. And I actually cannot wait until I'm able to play sevens for real, because I really feel like physically, endurance-wise, mentally, I'm in a different place than where I was prior to me tearing my Achilles, in a much, much, much better place. And I'm excited for that. I take these things with a grain of salt. Like I said, these are just people coming around. These guys know how to play rugby, but it wasn't an official practice. So I take it with a grain of salt. But for whatever, I still feel good. So yeah, I'm happy with that. The last thing on my update, I wanted to kind of share with you this thing here. I don't know if you know, but I'm a very big advocate for cannabis use. I'm a huge cannabis user myself. The last few weeks, I think, I've been running like my own personal experiments just to see how I use, especially for rugby, I use cannabis to, get the shit out of my head. Like, I'm a very anxious person. I've always been that way. Since I was a kid, I was like that. I get bouts of stage fright, especially when I play sports, and weed kind of helps me not worry about any of that type of shit. But the problem with smoking weed is you can't breathe. And I know a lot of athletes smoke. I know tons of rugby players who do. I know tons of basketball players, football players, and nobody wants to admit that like it's hard to breathe. Like, it's way harder for you to catch your second wind. It takes longer. At least for me, it does. And so I've just been running my own personal experiments where, I used to smoke when I wake up. That would be like the first thing I do. Like, people have their morning coffee. I have a morning joint. And I was like, man, I want to make sure I'm maximizing this shit. Like, I don't want to take any opportunity away from myself by not being able to train as hard as I possibly can when it's time, when I'm training. And to execute training is the best way I possibly can. So I just said, let me not smoke before my workouts, and let me not smoke past a certain time at night. So I used to smoke, again, people have their, whatever, nightcap, whatever they do before they go to bed, the routine or whatever. I would smoke a joint. And now I don't smoke a joint past 7 o'clock. I go to bed every day at like 10:30. And so 7 o'clock is my cutoff. And what I've found is that it's much easier for me to get into my workout. It's much easier for me to catch my second wind. And I sleep better when I don't smoke right before bed. And so I think I'm going to continue with that. Now, that's not to say that I don't use weed or I don't use cannabis. I still eat it now. Like, I eat it now. Instead of smoking it and like having all that smoking shit in my face and my nostrils and my lungs, I just eat an edible before I go train. And it does exactly what I wanted to do, but I'm just not inhaling all that bullshit anymore. So that's something I wanted to share with you. I'm sure you have other athletes who do that, and hopefully, it could be of service to them in some ways. Like, I know a lot of us, again, smoke marijuana because we want to cool our minds. Just the other day, Kevin Durant was talking about how it puts you in a different mindset and how it helps you kind of just relax, and that's exactly what it does for me. But it also took something away from me, which is my endurance, and that's also that my engine is something that I've, in any sport that I've played, has always been something that probably my biggest attribute. I'm all over the field all the time, and if it's just something taking away the ability for me to do that, then I don't want to keep doing it. And we kind of did, because it made me like it made me hesitate, pick spots because I knew I couldn't get that second win. And now that I'm not doing that anymore, where I'm either eating the weed or I'm not smoking at all before practice or before training or whatever. It's allowed me to just be able to breathe easy, breathe better, which allows me to play exactly the way that I want. So I thought I'd share that with you. This weekend, sorry for the long ass update, but this weekend is my best friend's wedding. So I'll be gone from tomorrow, Friday, until Sunday, and then Monday I'm back and I'm ready to get back in the fucking office and ready to get back to work. 7 seasons around the corner, and I'm feeling good as fuck. So I'm ready to dominate this summer. I'm ready to really make a name for myself finally. I think this is probably going to be the season that I do that. That's just the way that I feel. So as always, man, I appreciate these little coaching sessions, these updates, because like I said, you give me a lot of insight on things. So hope to hear from you soon. Sorry for the long update. It's about 11 minutes, but I had a lot of stuff to throw at you. So hope you have a good one, man. Hear from you soon.